Why do people hate Sonic X? Okay, so Sonic X was one of my favorite shows growing up when I was a kid. I used to watch it on 4Kids TV. The dub, I used to wait every Saturday to watch Sonic X alongside Dragon Ball. You know, it was the first ever Sonic show I seen on TV at the time. But anyways, I noticed there was a lot of people talking about how they didn't like the Sonic X dub. Let's get into it. The Sonic X dub consists of the video game voice actors. Like, they were the voice actors in Sonic and the Secret Ring, Sonic and the Black Knight, I think Sonic Unleashed, I think Sonic Riders, I believe. And Jason Griffin, I know he was in Super Smash Bros, right? That was a nice little fun time, and I kind of missed it. They keep saying that the dub was bad and that the voice actors weren't that good, and really I do not agree with them. Even though the lady on there, she had a weird voice like that. She's kind of a chubby lady with orange hair, if you know what I'm talking about. Her voice actor sounded, strange. They should have got like a real woman to voice that character. But everything else isn't that bad on the show. Regarding voice actors, I don't think their voices was bad. I enjoyed all of them. I just couldn't stand Chris that much. He was kind of an annoying character. Another thing that I see a lot of people talk about regarding Sonic X is, let me see. Okay, so Cosmo, sorry about that. When Cosmo died off, the fans were very upset with that. And then, like, Cosmo is a popular Sonic X character, and she was only, like, made for the anime. So since people got so attached with her, they wanted her back inside the franchise, and they've been trying to get Sega to use Cosmo outside of Sonic X. It's another thing, but Sega never bothered or answered the fans, I guess, and left Cosmo in limbo, I believe. But let me see other reasons why people don't like Sonic X. Okay, fans dislike Sonic X primarily due to the heavily featured, often annoying human kid Chris Thorndyke. I didn't like Chris when I was growing up. I kind of agree with that. He takes screen time from Sonic characters. The show's feel heavy, slow pacing in early seasons, a poorly received English dub with a generic soundtrack, budget animation issues, and a perception that it watered down characters or plot points from games, especially with Chris's role in recreating Sonic Adventure stories leading to a feeling of Sonic Adventures through a human's eyes rather than the other way around. Whew, I knew they said something about the English dub being bad. Yeah, I agree with them. Chris was kind of annoying and boring. Oh, they talking about the animation? That's complicated. Why do most people dislike Sonic X? I thought they disliked the Sonic X because, like, Sega wouldn't bring back freaking Cosmo. I don't know though. That's what I came up with. Somebody said they didn't like Sonic X because it has poor animation, poor storylines, and adaptations. Gave Sonic an annoying sidekick who couldn't do anything and stole roles of some characters. 2 words, Chris Thorndyke. Oh yeah. One of the main reasons as to why I have so much distaste for the show is this boy. He's literally nothing but an unnecessary addition to the show at all counts. He's selfish and obsessive over Sonic, pretty much willing to do anything for Sonic despite whether or not his actions cause problems to other people. He's nothing but a huge leech of screen time. same for other humans in Sonic X. You could argue the show more focuses on him than Sonic. He's just simply a whiny piece of crap and a dislikable character. Oh my god. I didn't know people hated Chris Thorndyke. Wow. Oh my gosh. No. No, someone says the Japanese version is widely agreed to be very terrible regardless. Wow. Yikes. I didn't know the show was hated that much until I got older. But since I watched it as a kid, I wouldn't understand how these people feel about Sonic X, you know? Why do people hate the 4 kids that was Sonic X? I didn't. I was okay with it. Oh my god. I don't know. Maybe it was because they were the major part of the emotion, which of course they did. It's called 4 Kids for a reason, because they did anime that's for kids. One example of this will be in penultimate episode. So sorry if this didn't. Not to mention the dumb methods of censorship. Not to mention the dumb methods of censorship. This doesn't just apply to Sonic X either. This person said, I'm not sure I personally enjoyed it. I tried watching the sub version first, but after watching Sonic Prime and Sonic Boom in English, it was strange to suddenly hear them speak in Japanese. So I watched the entirety of Sonic X in the English dub, and it was honestly enjoyable. Now, another person said the voice acting isn't bad, but the censorship and music sure as hell annoy me. Yeah, some other Sonic X music is kind of annoying and bad. Oh my god. This person said, I didn't even know there was alcohol in the Japanese dub. Honestly, the thought of Sonic walking to a bar and order a drink sounds hilarious to me. Now I'm wondering what he'll get from one. Why do they always say Japanese dub? I don't even know why we say Japanese dub when the Japanese version is the official version, so it wouldn't be a dub, right? It would be like the official version of the show. Anyway, I can't wait in the whole time since I don't enjoy watching Japanese dubs, and I've only seen an episode or two of that dub of this show. I remember not being a big fan of 4 Kids dub, and the show in general for it didn't matter, because the dialogue and story just felt odd to me even as a kid. I write a bit, read some, and play text heavy games, so a good story and dialogue are aspects I keep a lookout for in any medium. Sonic X didn't impress me for that reason. I do remember some good bits of the show here and there, though. It did have its moment. I'll forever remember Sonic helping someone in a wheelchair go see the world. First to say, in my case, I always prefer the original dub since it's how the characters are meant to sound in Japanese voice acting. It's simply good, the best in the world, in my opinion, in the Sonic franchise case. Like most for Japanese franchises, that Jap dub fit perfectly every character. I mean, yeah. Reason, this person said reason censorship, because you know there's a viewership or children. Most of this stuff are pointless changes, and you have the generic soundtrack. Certain scenes either scrapped or edited, of course localization, because it has to make sense for context to the American English viewers, and then the different voices. Majority of people, including myself back then, knew only a few VAs were good, like Mike Pollock and Lisa Ortiz. The rest were mixed or negative. Stop it. Jason Griffin was good too. Oh my god. This person said they removed Live and Learn from the last Sonic Adventure 2 episode. That I just don't feel like a lot of censorship is necessary, but that's for kids for you. Of course they removed it. Ain't they having copyrighted reasons? I mean, of course they removed it. Ain't they having copyrighted issues with that song right now? It's ongoing thing going on within the Sonic franchise. They're having issues with that song, copyright issues or something like that. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Person said I like both dubs, but yeah, I do prefer the original Japanese version for the stuff I'm about. So it's dub music never shuts up, or some sound effects get drowned out. There's also parts where the scene should just be sound effects, but instead music runs the scene. Censorship and deleted scenes. This is always done in my opinion. There's some weird stuff too that was censored and it scratches my head. Live and Learn was scrapped for some generic stuff. Other game music in the Meteoric saga was scrapped. The tone of the entire series is completely different. Whether you like it or hate it, it's still different. Different opening and endings. Did translate some stuff wrong in the dub. The dub replacement music is okay, but the original music is far superior. There's probably more, but that's all I can think of at the moment. With all that said, though, the dub is still a fun watch, but I do prefer the original, especially the Japanese cast. Wow. That was a mouthful. And this person said, this is the last one, I don't think the show was good even in Japanese, but as for the 4Kids dub, it just sounded bad. The music was cheap, obnoxious, and repetitive. Jason Griffin was virtually the only voice actor sounded like he was trying to imitate his game counterpart at the time. Even Mike Pollitt had a hard time. Even Mike Pollitt had a long way to go to nail his Eggman portrayal, and originally had one of the stupidest evil laughs I've ever heard, and Knuckles' English voice was perfectly grouchy to the point of being headache inducing. So those are the reason why people don't like Sonic X. Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. These people gave some good responses and good info, because I did not know anything about this stuff. The bad voice acting, the music, Chris, censorship, and 4Kids. That's the main reason why a lot of people didn't like the Sonic X dub. It all makes sense now, but maybe I'm looking at Sonic X from like a different perspective because I watched it when I was younger. I did rewatch it on Tubi, and for the most part it was a good watch, but it was kind of boring and it took too long to really get into the show. I think it was like 20 episodes and 20 or 19 episodes, and I just stopped watching it. But I did get real far, but every time you get real far you forget what episodes you're on sometimes. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Wow, I didn't even notice it. But they need to understand, when it comes to the Sonic X cast, some of them people were just starting off. They were like new to the Sonic franchise, so they was trying to figure out how the character sounds and what the character is going to be like, you know. So it is going to be rough from the start. They ain't going to sound good automatically. And when it comes to dubbing, since it's an American company and we're trying to make a dub for an anime show, a show that's not originally from America, of course it's going to have a lot of changes to appeal to a Western audience, of course. There's that, and it is going to be different from the Japanese version because Japanese and American media is very different, and our humor is not the same, or our basically it's a lot of stuff that's not the same with Japanese stuff. considering entertainment though, so I see why they did them changes though. It's to appeal to an American audience, so it's not gonna be exactly the same as the source material at times. You gotta make it where it's also enjoyable to a person who is watching the show in the West. Yeah, but anime has been censored for years. And sometimes it's hard to get, like, I don't know. That's probably not an excuse. I'm thinking copyright reasons or permission. They probably did have permission from the Japanese company to use the original audio. I don't know. Not the original audio, but like the original music or something like that. I don't know how copyright works or agreements throughout companies when it comes to anime or something. But yeah, I see why they made the changes. I thought they hated the show because of the Cosmo situation too, where they never responded to the people about Cosmo. I mean, I think they did respond, and that the people wanted Cosmo back inside sonicx. I mean, the people wanted Cosmo back in the Sonic franchise. Yeah, I thought it had something to do with it. But anyways, yeah, this is crazy. But I'm not surprised. And the Chris hate, yeah, I can see why they hate Chris. I couldn't stand him either, and I still can't stand him a little bit right now, rewatching sonicx, because his episodes are boring and they drag out like throughout season 1, so it makes a lot of sense. Let me know your thoughts about the video, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time in the next video.